So as far as paid content is concerned and the concept of what consumers will pay for, there's a very common misperception that people think that people on the web or whatever the place that is, in the digital world are not willing to pay for content like music or news or books and so on. And of course, this was the initial wave of the internet, was the free wave where everything had to be free. But what we have now is a world of very soon 5 billion connected people on mobile devices. And for a lot of those people, it will be much more important for them to have the quality and the relevance that they need rather than to save a dollar. Of course, in many ways, it's still important to save a dollar if you can, which is why there's downward price pressure. But essentially, people will pay when they see value. And I call this reason to buy. And so what we need to do is to figure out what are those new reasons to buy rather than forcing people to pay, which is basically not possible. In the digital world, you can't force people to pay. Because in the digital world, you have alternatives, legal or not. You have alternatives that are giving you distribution of those objects. And very soon, we're going to have things like 3D printing, which will allow you to print my jacket or an iPhone cover also for free unless I'm willing to pay. So we need to find reasons to pay. And what we can see in the digital media landscape is that some of them have achieved this. For example, the Guardian newspaper in the UK, which is a trust, not a company, has achieved a lot of people paying for content through the app in many different ways, through events, through all kinds of things where people make payments. They are not financially quite successful yet, but they're on the road in that direction. So they found a way to monetize this also by goodwill and, of course, by becoming the default audience of English-speaking people on the internet. And then you have other things like The Economist, which is monetizing through the fact that you can listen to The Economist from an app while you're driving your car, for example. So I'm paying for the audio benefit, for listening rather than reading. So there's many ways, and Kevin Kelly from Wired magazine, he calls this the new generatives. And so what we have to look at is to see whether we can generate money from adding those things that are only possible because of digital technology. For example, social media integration. For example, virtual performances, like many opera houses are now virtually performing in movie theaters through a 3D sound system, and that's becoming a new revenue stream. For example, live concerts, which are a big revenue stream for music companies and for record labels and for bands that weren't possible before. So the key issue is with the willingness to pay is that we should not assume that people aren't willing to pay. We have to assume the same thing as before the internet is people are willing to pay for whatever they think has the highest value and that's attractive to them. It's only the fact that in the digital world it's more Darwinistic. So you have to provide more reason and a higher value at a lower price point. And that's our digital reality. So when we pay $10 for Netflix, we're paying half of the price of a DVD for the entire month of movies, but there's 50 million of us. So the price point is possibly diminishing, but the audience is growing vastly. And that creates huge opportunities for media companies. And I think this is something to think about when you think about how you're going to monetize your media in the future.